Subscribe for more stories and show your support by giving this video a thumbs up. Barnaby and the legendary starflower, in pursuit of the sweetest honey. The golden hive had woken up with the first lights of the morning. Thousands of bees were working in perfect harmony, some cleaning the honeycombs, some feeding the larvae, and some dancing at the hive entrance to describe the locations of nectar. Among these bees was a young explorer named Barnaby. Barnaby's wings fluttered a little faster than the others, and his antennae were always turned toward the horizon. That morning, he was returning from a clover field with his best friend Buzz. "These clovers are amazing, Barnaby," said Buzz, his mouth full of nectar. "The queen is going to love this." Barnaby sighed. "Yes, Buzz, clovers are nice. Daisies are nice too. But they are all the same. I want to make a honey for Queen Beatrice that she has never tasted before, one that enchants with even a single drop." The hive's old sage, the worldly Ilara, heard Barnaby's words. Ilara lived in the library honeycomb on the top floor of the hive. "So, you are seeking the legend, little Barnaby," said Ilara, leaning on her cane. Barnaby buzzed excitedly. "Which legend?" "The starflower," said Ilara. "It blooms only where the bravest bees can reach. Its color comes from the sky, its scent from the wind. They say that honey made from its nectar gives eternal happiness to whoever eats it. But it is hard to find. It hides among the rocks at the very top of Silver Mountain." Barnaby's eyes sparkled. "I will find it, Ilara. I will bring the world's most beautiful honey to our hive." Barnaby filled his bag with pollen dust, energy was needed for long journeys, and set off. He left the safe valley where the hive was located and flew towards the wild forest, where he had never been before. At the entrance of the forest, he met a butterfly whose massive wings shone like stained glass. This was Pierre. Pierre was a French monarch butterfly and had traveled half the world. "Ah, mon ami, my friend," said Pierre, gracefully landing on a leaf. "Where are you buzzing off to in such a rush?" "I am going to Silver Mountain, Pierre," said Barnaby. "I am looking for the starflower." Pierre adjusted his antennae. "Oh la la! An ambitious goal. But be careful, little bee. In the forest, not all that glitters is gold. And not everything that smells good is a flower." Pierre pointed north with his wing. "Follow the wind. But beware of that deceptive valley, Dot." Barnaby thanked Pierre and continued flying. After a while, an incredibly sweet, sugary scent filled his nose. When he looked down, he couldn't believe his eyes. There, among the bushes, stood a gigantic, crimson flower, even bigger than his hive. Its petals were like velvet, and dewdrops on it shone like diamonds. "This must be it," said Barnaby. "What else could be so big and beautiful?" He descended rapidly. Just as he was preparing to land right in the middle of the flower, a ladybug named Lola jumped in front of him. "Stop!" shouted Lola. Barnaby hovered in the air. "What? This flower looks magnificent." "Don't be fooled by appearances," said Lola. "This is a Titan trap. Yes, it looks very beautiful. But it has no nectar. It only has a sticky liquid. If you land there, you will never take off again." Barnaby approached carefully and sniffed. She was right. The scent that seemed sweet from afar turned into the smell of slightly rotting fruit as he got closer. This flower used its beauty to trick insects. "Thank you, Lola," said Barnaby, shivering. "I was almost making my biggest mistake." "True beauty doesn't shout, Barnaby," said Lola. "It whispers. Keep looking." When Barnaby passed the forest, Silver Mountain stood before him. The peak of the mountain was among the clouds. He began to ascend. The air was getting colder, his wings were getting heavier. Suddenly the sky darkened. Thunder roared. A summer storm broke out. For bees, raindrops are like water bombs falling from the sky. Even one could pin Barnaby to the ground. "I must hide." Barnaby took shelter in a small cave under a rock overhang. He wasn't alone inside. Boris, a thick-shelled, grumpy rhinoceros beetle, was there too. "HMPH, said Boris. "Another wet guest." "Just until the storm passes," said Barnaby, trying to dry his wings. "I am looking for the starflower." Boris laughed. His voice sounded like stones rubbing together. "Everyone is chasing the most beautiful, the brightest," said Boris. "But let me tell you a secret, little one. I have lived on this mountain for years. The most valuable things are those that manage to survive in the harshest conditions." Boris rolled an acorn aside. "Don't be afraid of the storm. The storm destroys weak flowers. Only the strongest and most special ones remain." When the storm subsided, the air was crystal clear. Barnaby said goodbye to Boris and continued the climb. There were no trees anymore, just grey rocks. Barnaby was very tired. His wings ached. "Maybe I should turn back," he thought. "There can't be flowers here. This place is just stone." Just as he was about to turn back, the direction of the wind changed. And that scent came. This scent wasn't overpoweringly sweet like the Titan trap. This scent was refreshing. It was like a mix of lemon, vanilla, and soil after rain. It opened his lungs and gave him energy. Barnaby followed the scent. At the edge of the steepest cliff, inside a tiny crack between two stones, he saw it. It wasn't huge as he expected. In fact, it was smaller than even a daisy. Its petals were sky blue, and in the center, there were silver spots shining like stardust. The wind was shaking it, but it held on tight to the rock, dancing gracefully. This was the starflower. There were no other flowers around. It was the only beauty in the midst of hardship. Barnaby approached the flower. The flower leaned towards him. "Hello, little traveler," said the flower. Its voice was like the sound of a bell. "You must have traveled a very long way to get here." "I came for you," said Barnaby. "I heard you were a legend." "I am just a flower," said the starflower humbly. "But I am alone here. If you take my nectar, can you carry my pollen far away? So that my siblings can grow in the valley too." "That would be an honor for me," said Barnaby. He landed in the heart of the flower. When he sucked the nectar, his eyes went wide. This taste wasn't just sugary. It contained sunlight, mountain wind, the power of the storm, and the sparkle of the stars. It was intense, pure, and perfect. Barnaby filled his special honey stomach, where bees carry nectar, completely. He also covered himself with the flower's silver pollen. "I promise," said Barnaby. "I will spread your beauty to the whole world." The return journey was much faster because it was downhill and Barnaby was filled with happiness. When he descended to the valley, he released the silver pollen on him into the wind. He had kept his promise. When he arrived at the golden hive, everyone welcomed him. Queen Beatrice was sitting on her throne. Barnaby came to the front of the honeycomb and presented the special honey he had prepared. Unlike the others, the honey was not golden yellow, but a shimmering color slightly tinged with blue. Queen Beatrice took a drop of the honey with her scepter and tasted it. The hive fell into silence. The queen closed her eyes. A peaceful smile spread across her face. "This," said the queen. "This honey doesn't just taste of flowers, Barnaby. This honey tastes of courage. It tastes of patience. And it tastes of hope." The queen touched Barnaby's shoulder. "Wing, you didn't just bring us the sweetest honey. You taught us that the most beautiful things cannot be obtained easily." From that day on, Barnaby became the hive's chief explorer. But for Barnaby, the biggest reward wasn't the titles. It was the view he saw when he looked at the valley where the hive was located the following spring. The valley was no longer just full of clovers. Everywhere, at the base of rocks, under trees, those small, blue, silver-spotted star flowers had bloomed. Thanks to the pollen Barnaby carried, that rare beauty now belonged to everyone. Barnaby understood that making honey wasn't just to fill bellies. Making honey meant telling nature's story and multiplying beauty. And Barnaby had written the most beautiful story. The end.